Hi, everyone. Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage, and I'm really excited to be here another Tuesday with Business Leadership in 15 minutes. This is a great way for you to get a little taste of what coaching is like. And I talk about topics that are trending, topics that clients are talking to me about, or people are asking me to speak on. So I keep it really relevant to what's going on today. And the idea here is to shift your perspective on maybe something that you've been thinking about or the way you look at something. Shift your perspective, shift your vantage, and then be able to actually implement something this week that'll help you. So if you're, live here or you're on the replay and you find what I'm talking about valuable, please share it with another business owner so that we can, right, pass it on and help them as well. So this week's topic was really inspired by a presentation that I heard this past weekend. So I had the opportunity to hear Jim Cathcart speak at my local chapter in Connecticut here for NSA, which is the National Speakers Association, which I'm part of. And I saw that he was going to be here in Connecticut presenting, and I got online and purchased a ticket right away. I was really looking forward to it because I've heard Jim speak before, and it's always really gold. So the presentation was great, but I can say that my biggest aha moment, my takeaway, is really something that I wanted to share with you because I have to be really honest. I have struggled with that term for years, motivational speaker, because my thinking when it comes to motivation and inspiration is that motivation is something that is personal to me, it's internal. And inspiration is something that is external. I can be inspired by something that someone says, I can be inspired by things in nature, by all kinds of things. Can be inspired from a movie or that you're watching. But motivation is something that is definitely internal. So I always had a challenge with that term, motivational speaker. And when Jim explained the way he saw it, that it was when you're speaking, the goal was to stimulate something that was already in a person, that was already something within. That's all you're doing. And that really came to me. It was clear that it's taking something out external, hearing someone talk, and they really are inspiring you for that spark. There's something in you that motivates you and drives you, and they're there stimulating that and adding a spark to it. So for me, that was a big aha moment. And I want to unpack this for you today because I thought about it in so many different ways, how it can relate to business owners and leaderships. And one of the first things I just wanted to kind of clarify this is that the way that motivation is described is motivation is something that is within, and this really comes from our beliefs, and they could be positive or negative, but the idea here is motivation is the reason for doing what we do. That's what it is, and that's internal. We all have different reasons for doing what we do, but motivation is what is in us, and it is the reason why we do what we do. And sometimes we have positive motivation and negative motivation. Some people want to go into business for themselves and they're really motivated to go into business for themselves. And it could be that people didn't believe in them and said, you'll never do this, or they may say, nobody in my family or where I'm from, the small town that I'm from, that I know ever did something like this. And I'm going to prove them wrong. So it was something negative, or they were told something negative, but they said, I I want to do this. I want to prove people wrong. And it could be they're escaping the pain. Other ways, another way could be they're moving towards something, pleasure, joy, fulfillment. It could be positive. And it's like, I want to do this for my family. I want to do this to serve people that I know can benefit from this. And it's more pleasure related. But motivation is within you. So motivation is more of the reasons that people act, the reason why we do things. It's our why. Inspiration is external. It's something that makes someone do something, right? It gives them the idea or gives them a shift or something that they want to create. So it's a spark. So it's really wanting to act, wanting them to take the action. That's what you're sparking in someone. So when we break this down, I believe that many of us in business are really there because we're sharing our gifts and our talents, the things that we know to make life better for people. And many business owners that I know in all different spaces and all different industries might not look at it that way. But when I take my businesses, for example, automotive repair, I am absolutely trying to make people's lives better. And in what way am I doing that? Right. So you're sitting here saying people have a lot of other people depending on them. Right. And I know, and that life is a journey. We have ups and downs, but I'm sitting here saying I can really help them get through life, enjoy that ride, and get through that journey of life, knowing that they have a safe, reliable vehicle, knowing that the plane that they need to catch or, driving to their child's school or having a reliable vehicle to take their children to the doctor, all of that really does help people and make life better for them. The coaching, there's a big thing going on here where, people don't have a sense of work-life balance. That's huge. People are just thinking that money and profits is the only way to be successful, yet they're making a lot of sacrifices in their personal life. Relationships could be falling apart. So in the coaching space, to me, fulfillment in work and life is huge. And of course, that makes people's lives better. And then the rental properties that my husband and I have, having a place to live that you enjoy or a workspace that works for you and a landlord that is a resource to you is huge because we have enough going on in our lives. So no matter which hat I'm wearing, no matter what business it is, I do believe that for me, sharing my gifts and talents, the things that I've learned is a way to make life better for people. And I'm sure you're doing the exact same thing. You've maybe haven't looked at it that way, but you're doing the exact same thing in your business as well. So I want to give you an idea of how I see this showing up in people's businesses. A lot of people say, I need to motivate people. And I see, people doing sign-on bonuses or all different kinds of perks to entice people to come in and work for them. And they're looking at it like, what do I have to do to motivate my team? And I think the main thing here is we really want to do is we want to inspire our team. I think if we get rid of the idea of us being responsible to motivate them, we're making a lot of assumptions. Having conversations with your team and understanding where they're at and what motivates them is huge. Find out what their goals are. Have one-on-one conversations with people. Get to know them and learn about them and find out what it is that is motivating them. Maybe they have, a brand new baby and that child is a huge motivation for them. The love that they feel for that child, the responsibility that they feel for that child, They want to provide and they want to give a great life to that child and set really good examples for that child to live by. That's what's motivating them. It's internal. But how can you help them to get further along in their career? How can you help them to understand and align what motivates them and how their career or working with you within your company on your team can actually help them get there? I think that's the disconnect that many people have. So, a lot of times we want team members to go above and beyond. That's what we want. We want them to go above and beyond. And I think that when we talk about that, we understand what we want, but a lot of team members, when I talk to them, they'll say things like, well, the expectations are really high here. And, they want me to do all these different things. And I don't really know if it's my wheelhouse. And the other thing that people will say is, I don't get paid enough for that. That's not part of my job. I don't get paid enough to do that. They think it's in someone else's wheelhouse or someone else's responsibility. And I want to break this down and give you an example of what I'm talking about. We've all dealt with customer service as business owners. We have customer service, we've done it ourselves, but we've actually gone out into the world, right? And we've been customers. So when we think about that and how us as a customer, we've all experienced terrible customer service where we feel like we're just a number and we feel like we're not being heard, even when we have a situation or something that we want to get resolved. We just feel like somebody's checking off boxes and doing what they have to do. But really, when we think about this, what is it in customer service that we're looking for? We're looking for someone that cares, and we're looking for someone to provide a really good experience for the customer or client on the other end. So, is this customer service one that just does their job, takes messages, checks off boxes, but doesn't actually connect with the person on the other end? So, a lot of times, what'll happen is someone feels limited because they don't actually have the resources that are needed to make those decisions to go above and beyond. So I'm going to give you like a really funny example, but this is a perfect example. We actually had an issue when you talk about customer service. We were dealing with a utility company. We had a landlord of ours contact us and say they had no water, and they had no water all day. They left for work and they had no water all day. They came back later and they were like, we're still without a water from this morning. I don't know what happened. So the first thing I did is I went and I contacted the water company and I said, my tenant has no water. They haven't had it all day. We need to get to the bottom of this. I don't know what the problem could be. But just, conversational. I wasn't angry. And so they looked, they did their research, they did their due diligence. Okay, your bill's been paid. It wasn't turned off by us. Okay, check. We don't see any outages in the area. We have no idea what it could be. And that was kind of it. And I was like, well, I have to get to the bottom of this because my tenant needs water. So what do I do next? So I had to push the issue. And then they said, we'll have a technician call you. So the technician called, and pretty quickly, within like maybe 10 minutes, they called and they said, here's what can happen sometimes. Sometimes somebody can turn the water off inside the home without realizing it. They hit something or something was doing work and somebody was doing work and they turned the water off and they didn't realize it. And I said, well, chances of that happening are pretty rare because it's not me in the house, it's a tenant. So then the technician said, well, sometimes they have to put new meters in, water meters in, and it's possible that it wasn't turned on. So my husband and I went to the property. We contacted the tenant and we went to the property. And sure enough, we opened up the cover and there was a new meter put in. and they forgot to turn the water back on after they installed the meter, right? So it happens. So we did it. My husband was able to, hook everything up the way it was supposed to go. It was just a matter of turning a few, knobs on it. He had the tools in the vehicle. He brought tools with him, and we were able to do that. So the first person I talked to, the customer service was kind of just blah. But the technician who I spoke with contacted me, told us that if we had the option to send him and what the cost would be if it was something that the homeowner or the tenant turned on. Then he said, if you want to go, here's an option. You can take a photo. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. And we did. And he called me back. Afterwards, he said, great job. He said, I'm talking to my supervisor. We're going to get you guys a credit. I'll call you back in the morning. The customer service from this technician was just above and beyond. He walked me through the whole process. He said, that's exactly what happened when we showed him the picture. They put a new meter in, and I'm embarrassed to say they forgot to turn the water back on. So I use this as an example because this happens all the time. But this technician gave excellent customer service. He also contacted me this morning, and told me the credit that they were going to give me for the inconvenience that we actually had to go out there and do this, because this really should have been done properly on our end. He went above and beyond. And here's what happens when someone goes above and beyond, which I think is so important. It's a way of looking at your job and your role in your job, in your company, the role that you have. When people are thinking, this isn't my job, or they want me to do too much, they're really thinking of, they're getting paid, whether they're hourly or salary really doesn't matter, but they're thinking about, this is what I'm getting paid for, right? And there's a quote by Jim Rohn that I think is so relevant here. You have to remind people, you don't get paid for the hour. If you're there and you're working 8 hours and you're like, okay, I'm getting paid 8 hours, you really get paid for the value that you bring to the hour. So you take the technician that I spoke to who went above and beyond, and you take another technician that is doing the same exact job but doesn't go above and beyond. Which technician was more valuable to that company? Actually, the one that I worked with, right? Skills can be taught, skills can be developed, but the attitude and the way that you look at your role is so much better. It's if you're insightful and you really own it and you want to do better, and those are the people that you want to attract, because it's worth paying them more as well, because they actually bring value to every single hour that they're there. They can be pleasant. They can actually inspire a whole team of people by them just being around, because they're so nice to work with. So this is what I wanted to leave you with today. It was an aha moment for me, and I wanted to unpack it and break it down and share it with you. So if you're on the replay or live, again, I just want to remind you, if you find this valuable, share it. Share it with another business owner or an entrepreneur that you know, and let's help each other out. And if you have any comments or suggestions, definitely put them below. So I look forward to next week's Business Leadership in 15 Minutes. Everyone, have an enjoyable week.